So, welcome and let's begin with our first lesson for today, which is introduction lesson. So, after completing of this particular lesson, we are going to gain understanding about a relational database management system and the object relational database management system. You are also introduced to SQL Developer and the SQL Star Plus as a development environments used for executing SQL statements and for formatting and reporting purposes. That is our course objectives. The course offers you to introduction to Oracle Database 11g database technology. In this class, you will be learning the basic concept of relational database and the powerful SQL programming language. This course provides the essential SQLs that enable you to write queries against single and multiple database, manipulate data in tables, create database objects, and query metadata. So this is the basic high-level agenda: introduction and retrieving data using SQL statements, sorting data using conversion functions, conditional expressions, and creating other schema objects. So let's look at the brief focus areas for the training. Basically, we are looking at the three main important areas, which is the infrastructure grids, information management, and application development. Our primary focus is on the application development, but I'll just brief you about what is the infrastructure grids, information management also. The infrastructure grid technology of Oracle enables pooling of low-cost servers and storage to form systems that deliver the highest quality of service in terms of manageability, high availability, and performance. The Oracle Database 11g consolidates the extents and benefits of the grid computing. In the information management, the Oracle Database 11g extends the existing information management capabilities in the content management, information integration, and information lifecycle management areas. Oracle provides the content management of advanced data types such as XML, multimedia, medical imaging, and semantic technologies. Our primary focus is on the application development, where the Database 11g has capabilities to use and manage all the major application development environments such as PL SQL, Java, .NET, Windows, PHP, SQL Developer, and Oracle Application Express. The relational database model, if you look at this one, um, the Oracle Server supports both relational and the object relation database models. The Oracle Server extends the data modeling capabilities to support the object relational database model that provides object-oriented programming such as complex data types, complex business objects, and fully compatible with relational world. It includes several features for improved performance and functionality of OLTP applications, online transaction processing applications, such as better sharing of runtime data structures, large buffer caches, and deferrable constraints. So, if you look at a very high level, what are the various means of storing media or storing information? Every organization has some information needs. A library would keep a list of members, books, due dates, and files. A company needs to save information about employees, departments, and salaries. These pieces of information is called data. Organization can store data in various media in the different formats, such as hard copy document in a file cabinet. It may also keep some information in the electronic spreadsheet, and eventually it can also store in some kind of a database. These are all the ways. These two are mainly the ways of storing traditionally, but these days information are stored in the database so that it can be retrieved and executed very easily. A database is an organized collection of information. To manage database, you need a database management system, and a DBF is a program that stores, retrieves, and modifies data in the database on request. So there are mainly four types of database: the hierarchical, the network, the relational, and the most recent one we can call it as object relational. So if we just look at the history of the relational database concept, the principle of relational model were first outlined by Dr. E.F. Codd in around June 1970, and he had written an article with regards to a relational model of data for large shared data banks. He also proposed about the relational model for database management systems. The common models used at that time were hierarchical and network, or even a simple flat file data structures. Relational database management system soon became very popular, especially for the ease of use and flexibility in structure. In addition, a number of innovative vendors such as Oracle supplemented the RDBMS with a suite of powerful application development and user interface products, thereby providing a complete total solution. So the relation model consists of the following: collection of objects of or relations, set of operators to act the relations, data integrity for accuracy and consistency. So at a very high level, if you look at what is the definition of a relational database, a relational database is a collection of relations or two-dimensional tables. We're talking about over here tables in terms of employees and tables in terms of departments. Okay, these two are part of these two database, and this one particular one single database, and they may have a relationship between one table may have relationship with other table to store some information. How does the table get evolved? Okay, models are the cornerstone of design. Engineers build a model of a car to work out any details before putting into production. In the same manner, system engineers develop models to explore ideas and improve the understanding of a database design. So the first thing which occurs to a designer would be the creation of a model. Okay, he would approach to a particular client, and the client would have some system in the mind by which he can understand, and he would get all the requirements from the customer and would translate into an entity model. This is called an ERD diagram basically. The ERD diagram, which is entity relationship diagram, which defines the relationship between one or more entities. And after creating the ERD, the designer would then transform into a table model, which where eventually you can see the model of the table, how it will look like eventually before getting into the database. Once the designers and the architects are happy with the model, they would then transform it into an Oracle database tables into the tables. So that's the flow, how it works at a very high level. The entity relationship model, when you look at an ERD model, it has relationship between one or more entities. The relationship between two entities is either maybe one to many, many to many, single to many, etc. So the dotted line tells you a relationship between one or more entity, and assign one or more employee to a department. That's one of the scenario. That is the relation where one department, say department number 10, may have 10 employees inside. Department number 20, say example, may have 5 employees inside. So that's where the relationship is building, that I can assign one or more employees to a particular department. There may be scenarios where some departments do not have any employees assigned so far. That is also possible, and that is what the scenario which builds up this particular ERD model. The ERD model is a very high level diagram which tells you the various entities which are going to capture the table information in the database. The entity relationship model conventions. What are the typically the conventions used in the ERD diagram? Just for your reference, so that you can always, when you look at the ERD, it's very easier to understand. Typically, the entity is this particular entire box is called as an entity. It can be either singular or a unique name. Okay, that's why we are saying as employee. It has to be in uppercase, probably a soft box, and a synonym in parentheses. There can be a synonym which is like a different name to that particular entity. Then you have the attributes. Okay, when you look at the attributes are these ones, the ones which are present over here. Basically, these are the attributes. Okay, singular lowercase, mandatory mark with asterisk. So anything which is marked as asterisk would be termed as mandatory. That is, you have to enter some value into it. Okay, you cannot have null inside. That is, you cannot have empty value inside it. Optionally can be marked with O. That is what it shows over here. O, same thing. And the unique identifier can be marked with as a hash. Okay, and you can also have a secondary mark with hash, which means it's a primary key. There cannot be duplicates in that. That means you cannot have one employee number repeated again. Okay, so that indicates me it's a primary key as well as it's a mandatory item. So you have to enter a value and it has to be unique as well. That's a very high level. Then after creating the ARD, when the designer is happy with the attributes and the structure of the entity, it may then be transformed into a table. Okay, and that is where the table is being transferred as employees table and the departments table. Okay, the department ID has become a primary key. As what you see, it has become a primary key. The in the employee ID has also become a primary key, as you see over here, because it was part from the earlier example. That means if you look at over here, I had the employee number has become a primary key and a department number has become a primary key, and there's a small relation. As you see, there's a relation over here, one to many, that is acting as a foreign key. We'll see what is a foreign key once we come back to the next slide. The foreign key is the relationship. That's the relationship, as you see, the relationship between the employee and the department as one to many. One department can have many employees, and that's what it says. This particular employee is belonging to department 90. This particular employee is also belong to 90. This particular employee is also belong to 90. This one is belonging to 60. So I can have one employees belonging to various departments, and this particular column is having a link with this column. That determines the foreign key, basically a foreign key which creates a link between two tables. Okay, again we'll be learning about foreign key as we go along, but this is just at a very high level, that you have a physical relationship between two entities to create a link between two tables. As we move along in the relational database terminology, if we look at a very high level, what we call in within the tables. Okay, it's very important to know. The first one what we are looking at is a row, a complete row. This is a table called employees. Okay, this is a table employees, and the first one we are looking at is a row. The second one what you're looking at is a column. We call it as a column in the table. The third one which you are looking at, or even the second one is a column as well as it's a primary key. Okay, very important to know, it's a primary key as well, PK. The third one what you're looking at is a number column. Okay, and it is storing number. That's why you see all of the values are right aligned, and this also is right aligned, but this is not a primary key. The fourth one is the foreign key. Basically, it's trying to have a link with the another table. The fifth one you see is the actual value, which is referencing the table referencing to the master table. Again, it can be empty, it can have a value. As you see, some values are null. Null meaning there is no value in it. The employee is still not assigned to a department. Just an example. I have joined in the organization, but still I am not allocated to a department. That's why the value is null. It can be a scenario. Then the sixth one what you see is the commission percentage column. This particular column may have null values, or it's it's a column which can have value or may not have value, but there is no foreign case, a simple ordinary column. Okay, non-mandatory, or I would say optional. Okay, anyways, we'll be looking into this very in detail as we go along. So what is a structured query language? As we are learning SQL, in the relation database, you do not specify